Today is September 18th. Welcome on in to Daily Cards Live here on ClaibsOnline.com. I'm Joe Roderick, joined alongside by Bob Ramsey, brought to you each and every day by Mugginass St. Louis Acura and Royal Banks of Missouri. Rammer, the Cardinals right now on a 4-game winning streak in the United States.
You're always looking for that positive edge.
I believe that's a form of sabermetrics.
Yes, it is. Home soil versus foreign.
Analytics, yes. Analytics just running wild on the show today. But no, Cardinals have taken the first 2 from the Pirates. We haven't spoken to the people since late last week. God, everything just kind of fell apart up in Canada.
Yeah, and then for some reason, right back together again, playing Pittsburgh for a couple of days anyway. As much as I have liked to complain about starting pitching, I don't think I've complained enough about how lame the offense is. And it's really, really frustrating. So I guess we can break all that stuff down. And even though the Cardinals are winning games, they're not killing it on offense. They're getting just enough done to win.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, when you have solid pitching like they have the last 2 nights at least, that's all you need is just the bare minimum of sorts. Get a lead, hold a lead, and then in both cases you tack on a little bit at the end of the game just to pull away just a bit and give yourself some breathing room in those. But as we've seen so far in September, you have 4 home runs this month from Jordan Walker, still somehow hitting under. I do not understand how you can go 5 for 5 in a game and still at any point be hitting under 200. That is an anomaly of sort. It's up there with Bartolo Colon hitting a home run in his career. It just makes no sense.
Yeah. He has been through some trials and tribulations, but he is hanging in there, and it's awesome to see this late in the year. You know, anybody period, especially anybody who struggled, to be able to finish on a high note and have a good taste in your mouth about the season and about yourself as you go into the off season. That's good. I think in particular for young players.
Speaking of ending the season on a high note, possibly ending his career on a high note, Lance Lynn last night for the Cardinals goes 6 strong innings, gives up that home run, but outside of that, ends his season at Busch Stadium, at least at Busch Stadium. We don't know what's in store for next week. Unbeaten at Busch this year, an ERA, I believe, of 3.05. At Busch Stadium, so is called to come back to the Cardinals, signs a 1-year deal with the Cardinals to be a leader in the clubhouse and kind of be have a spot and kind of just hold down that 4 or 5 spot in the rotation. And he did just that, and he came back off the IL, off the DL with a vengeance these past few starts.
Yeah, we talked about this at length a week or so ago about Lance. And I was too harsh, and quite frankly, I was wrong. He's been what you wanted, except for the injuries, and that happens. Now, the dilemma you have, if you're the Cardinal brass, is he worth $11 million to bring back? And how do you measure worth on something like that? And I think that still remains a question, but he's been pretty darn good, and I was wrong, kind of saying he's done, finished, get rid of him. That was wrong. He's much better than that, and he served his team well.
And not only is it, I get what you're saying about it being a Cardinal decision. I mean, it could be a Lance Lynn decision too. He turns 38 in May next year. I know, has a few kids and has been, grinding out the big league life for many, many years now. It could just be a case of, you know what? I did what I've accomplished all I've wanted to accomplish. Does he have 2 World Series or just 1 World Series in 2011? At this point, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what he decides and what he chooses to do going into this offseason.
Can you read that, Joe?
What's that? Yeah. Oh, look at that. Would you look at that?
Vintage wear, 2011.
That's of all
We didn't
days
plan that, folks.
we did not not at all. No. I think regular listeners and viewers of the show are well aware of our show prep that we do on the program. So Lance Lynn, he ends his Busch Stadium season. He ends his return to the Cardinals with a perfect record, and you kind of move on from there. Looking at the past week too, and looking the start of a career versus possibly the end of a career, it's one of those fascinating things that somehow Paul Skeens having the season that he's having, 3 losses on the year, 2 of them to the hands of the St. Louis Cardinals, makes it's one of those things you cannot explain why it happens that way.
And he's pitched well against the Cardinals, just the way baseball go.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. That's exactly the way to describe the happenings for that. Cardinals tonight again versus the Pirates. Lineups for tonight, as I take a look here, not posted just yet. Sonny Gray makes his final start at Busch Stadium for the season, 13-9 on the year with a 3.75 ERA before a night game tonight, night game tomorrow, and then the Guardians come into town. Pirates do not have a listed starter just yet on the year, but Cardinals looking to continue to just kind of pull away from that 500 mark. And because I saw what the stat was, it's been 50 some years since they've gone back-to-back seasons.
Oh, is that right?
Full seasons with a losing record. It happened during the strike shortened season in '94, and then the following year in '95 during the shortened seasons. Both of those years were losing records, but I think it was maybe 51, 52, somewhere around there. The last time they went full seasons back to back with losing records.
That's a good number. That's a good stat, and it shows you why Cardinal baseball and the organization remains a national brand. But some of that legacy starts to slip away after a while. I mean, people who covered the game and have been around for a while, I mean, people used to complain, the Cardinals are in the postseason every year. And, the national media, and to where it was almost tiresome. But when you've been out of it a while, it is not tiresome. You get desperate to want to be back in postseason. And that's what they've got to figure out and where they're going to go.
Yeah, we'll see how the Cardinals go tonight with the matchup. Again, Pirates tonight and tomorrow. Sonny Gray on the mound. At this, I know I asked it again. I've asked it before. As we wind down and get 1, maybe 2 more, or I guess 2, maybe 3 more starts out of Sonny Gray this season. What are you looking for out of him to solidify him as your number 1 for next year? Or is there anything, or are you looking still for a number 1 going into the offseason, and Sonny Gray is just there as your number 2?
I'm looking for some, people, I cover a lot of college athletics at St. Louis U. This will be my 39th season. I've always believed you need to recruit over what you have. And I think it's the same thing with a professional team. It's not recruiting, but what you have. You've got to bring in players that are better than what you have. That's the only way you can get better. Now, does that mean free agency? Boy, the fear about local broadcast revenue is really scary to mid-market teams like the Cardinals. And so do I expect them to go sign a big-time free agent starter? I really don't think so. Is somebody like McGreevy or somebody else in the organization, can you ask them to come in and match start for start with Sonny Gray? That's probably not realistic, but you got to find a way to get better. And they've hamstrung themselves with some of these contracts. We've talked about this ad nauseum. So what is the answer for that? I don't have the answer, but you got to try and be better and bring in players that are better than what you have.
Is Andre Palante right now in your starting rotation for next season?
I don't know what's going to happen in spring training. And I don't believe, with rare exceptions, that you just hand spots to people, especially young people. Okay, Gray, Gibson's going to be in the rotation. Let's say for a moment, Lynn's not going to be with the Cardinals. So then you got who we got? Matz, Palante, Fetty. I think Fetty would have to be a disaster in the spring not to be in.
Yeah.
So you're looking for, probably 2 spots to be sure and line up. And I would say Palante, you pencil in now. But I'll ask you, Joe, what if the end of March his ERA is 12?
But yeah, I feel like somebody like him, especially the contract that he's on, I think he is, yes, you are reevaluating him every 1 or 2 starts, and you're looking at which way certain things are trending with him. Where Sonny Gray has 2 bad starts, you look at that and you say, hey, let's get in the film room and let's figure out what needs to be changed.
Yeah.
Where if Andre Palante would have 2 bad starts, you look at that and you say, okay, hey, is it Memphis or is it the bullpen?
We'll get back to you.
Right. Yeah. And you kind of survey your options from there. I think that's the way, a player, and I don't think that should come as a surprise to anybody either. That's the way things work.
Yeah. If Lynn is done, I hear some rumors, and I don't know it's anything but rumors that McGreevy, they might manipulate the roster and get him up here. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but he had the one start that was terrific. And I wouldn't mind seeing him again before the end of the year. How do you feel about that?
No, I've been saying that since his first start. Since he started that game against the Rangers, I've wanted to see him back ever since. In that case, hey, Cardinals tonight before the game will honor the career of Matt Adams. He signs a 1-day contract and retires a St. Louis Cardinal. Matt Adams bouncing around for 10 years in Major League Baseball. After the Cardinals spent time in Atlanta, in Washington, and in Colorado, a few different stints in Washington and in Atlanta, but will forever be remembered for his big playoff home run against Clayton Kershaw in the postseason. And just one of my favorite Cardinals to talk to over the years.
And by all accounts, just a great guy. And so I'm happy the Cardinals are doing that for him. He earned it. And a guy who hung on into the game for a while, he played in Mexico and at the end at a couple of minor league teams, maybe an independent team. I don't have it in front of me, but, kind of a baseball lifer. And if he wants, I hope you find a place in your organization for the guy, if he wants to.
This past year played in Tijuana. Last year was in AAA with Rochester for the independent league for the Nationals. Was with the throughout that time too. Independent ball in Kansas City. Played there for a few games. Throughout, multiple minor league stints trying to get himself back into the big leagues over the years. And a guy that once came on my radio show to preview SummerSlam. 1 year instead of talking anything baseball. He was on the IL and had nothing to update about his rehab assignment, but came on and we previewed the SummerSlam card back during the CBS Sports 920 days. So
that's beautiful.
Just a wonderful guy, and glad that he's getting his moment tonight down at Busch Stadium. Hey, as we get ready to wrap things up on today's show, I want to remind you that we are brought to you by Royal Banks of Missouri and Munganast St. Louis Acura. Munganast Burkhardt Alton Toyota going up there tomorrow afternoon, picking up a new car from Munganast Burkhardt Alton Toyota. It was actually a car that was on the lot at Munganast St. Louis Acura, and they picked it up and they brought it over to the store in Alton for me to pick up and go up there tomorrow and sign all of the paperwork. And I will tell you this, though, for the last few weeks, I have been driving a 2024 RAV4 hybrid, Toyota hybrid, and I'm going to miss that car now that I have to give it back to them and buy a new car from them. But they were kind enough to let me drive that for the last few weeks. And I will tell you, it has changed my views on a hybrid, on the hybrids. Never knew really what to think of them to begin with, but I am in love with the hybrid. 500 plus miles per tank of gas on that thing. And just, I wish I would have counted. I could probably count on one hand over the last month that I've had it, that I've had to fill up the gas tank on that. So it has been awesome. Absolutely wonderful. And I recommend going and looking at some of their leasing options at altontoyota.com and check out the new 2024 and the 2025s that they have out there in the hybrids out there at Mungenast Burkhardt Alton Toyota. Until tomorrow, we bid you adieu. He is Bob Ramsey. I'm Joe Roderick. Talk to you next time here on Daily Cards Live.
From our roots in St. Louis, Royal Banks of Missouri is branching out to continue serving you with our locations in St. Charles, Jerseyville, Granite City, and now in Hannibal, Center, and New London. Royal Banks of Missouri, the community bank in your community.